MyBatis core component model in MyBatis. Here you can see MyBatis core component model. MyBatis framework mainly includes 4 core components, namely constructor, session factory, session interface, and mapper. The session interface and mapper are the most important component of MyBatis, and session interface is SQL session. This SQL is executed concurrently. The mapper consists of an XML file, namely SQL template, and Java interface. It is responsible for recording mapping rules, configuring caches, saving SQL related information, dynamic SQL, and session transaction control. The implementation steps performed by the persistent layer framework MyBatis are as follows. 1. MyBatis will get the specified configuration file, specified configuration file path through the constructor. Read the MyBatis main configuration file, and the SQL template file, and pass them, and generate a mapper proxy factory. And generate a mapper proxy factory object for each mapper interface, and cache it in the MyBatis global configuration object config. When an interface is used, the interface is used to dynamically proxy the interface. 2. MyBatis will pass the SQL template file corresponding to mapper interface, pass the input parameter type, dynamic SQL, and result type information into SQL source objects, encapsulate it as a mapped statement object, cache it in the configuration object config, and add the mapper interface path to the method. The name string is used as the key value of the mapped object. Then session factory is obtained through the constructor, and the session object SQL session is obtained, which is used to call the persistence layer method. 3. When the mapper interface proxy object is obtained, through SQL session or the proxy interface is injected into the IOC container through the mapping scan configurer when integrating with the Spring. MyBatis find corresponding mapper proxy factory object in the global configuration object config through the mapper path method, both in as a parameter. Mapper proxy factory returns the actual proxy object after dynamic proxying of the mapper interface. 4. When the corresponding method is executed through the proxy object, the method that is actually enhanced by the dynamic proxy is actually executed. The parameter corresponding to the method are used to find the mapped statement object corresponding to the method from the global configuration object corresponding to the method from the global configuration object, and the parameters are compiled. Post population generates and execute the SQL and returns the return result set after conversion according to the rules of the mapper. Here SQL session factory creates a SQL session out of a connection or a data source. Here SQL interface SQL session, the primary Java interface for working with MyBatis. Through this interface you can execute commands, get mappers and manage transactions. Here MyBatis -config XML and SQL mapper are connected to SQL session factory builder via pass. Here XML and mapper are inside SQL mapper. XML and mapper XML interacts with mapper, and here SQL session factory builder is connected to configuration via register. Here SQL session factory builder is connected to SQL session factory via builder. SQL session factory is connected to SQL session via get, and here configuration interacts with mapper statement. Mapper statement is connected to SQL session via proxy. SQL session is connected to DB via execute. Now this is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for watching it.